As if they don't have too much on their plates. The Kings of Combat Sports Podcast, John and Wai. They'll talk about the things they did that day. They'll analyze the work of Triple H. Rewind to SmackDown. 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 Rewind to SmackDown.
Well, hello. We are back. John Pollock, Wai Ting. 30 minutes already into the show where we have just gone through all of the big news items, including talking about a kind of a disastrous week of pro wrestling television numbers and what the source of it all is. We fix all of cable's issues in a quick 10-minute chat.
We pinpointed it. We know the answers. We have solved the issue.
It is. We have found everything.
It's the last bastion of unifying content for us.
So we also talk about Kenny Omega. What should I say here? Kenny Omega absent from television with a scheduled plan that was in place that does by no means mean that he won't be doing anything. He just won't be performing in front of you on screen. How many characters is that?
That is a perfect headline that I don't think would be misconstrued at all. I don't think he should take issue with that.
Yes. Our editor-in-chief, Kenny Omega. John Cena's final dates, going over those, and the retirement match not taking place in Boston. Mm-hmm. Matches set already for Bound for Glory, including the TNA title match and the big story, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather Jr. coming to a streamer near you. Bids are now open.
Two men with WrestleMania pass.
That is true. That is true. One in the 90s, one in the 2000s, and they're going to be fighting in the 2020s.
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm.
All of that can
combat sports, buddy. You got a name, you will have a career for the rest of your life.
Yeah, there is no shame in any promoters allowing fighters to provide their last breath inside of a ring. We have been doing open house week throughout the past week, and for those of you that are checking out, this is the XL version of Rewind to SmackDown, where you get all of the news. And once open house week closes after Saturday's Collision Course, if you are so intrigued, you can jump up. $6 a month gets you access to all of our shows each and every week, including the XL versions of Rewind to Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown. You also get bonus shows, including Collision Course each week, Rewind Away, which is our bi-weekly retrospective show. This week, going back to 1993 to cover the Survivor Series, starring Ray Combs, Helen Hart,
and that's
others. Yeah, that was it.
And
a deep analysis of Ludwig Borga's tattoo choices, and not the one everyone thinks about. Wai pulling really pulling back the curtain on Ludwig Borga.
Yes. A lot of great response to this one from all of you guys so far. People tend to really like our WWE New Generation era reviews, and I certainly do. So we go right back to Survivor Series. We hop aboard the Lex Express on our way to WrestleMania 10 with this discussion about Survivor Series.
That's right. And you can also catch all of our reviews of the Unreal series. We dropped the final review this past Tuesday covering the WrestleMania episode, but they're in the archives on the Double Shot. You can catch our reviews of all 5 episodes, which are now completed as well. So if you'd like to support the site, postwrestlingcafe.com. It gets you all of this extra access to multiple shows per week, ad-free editions of the shows, and you keep Post Wrestling pumping all that plasma into our bulging arms. I've never heard any other podcasters make that comparison, but I want to be the first. Okay.
Very good. Yes.
Into SmackDown we go. A very loaded show, which had a sellout of WrestleTix announcing this might have been the closest we've ever had. 16,578 was the WrestleTix final number. Michael Cole announced 16,678. A mere difference of 100.
Interesting. Okay.
I think Cole's just going on to WrestleTix now, and then just he just changes
adding
it to
few.
Yeah. Well, the man was busy because he's going to be on SmackDown duty with Corey Graves for the next couple of months, they said, as this is now college football season. So it's musical chairs time on the WWE broadcasts.
Well, what about Barrett? Would we assume Raw?
I'm assuming Raw, yeah.
But why the change, I suppose? Like, why not keep Graves on Raw?
Maybe they just... Because up until now, it's been, the three of them on Raw. I'm guessing that maybe they're just doing two-man teams now. Maybe it's just Tessitore and Wade on Raw.
Has it been 3 people on Raw?
I thought it's been 3, yeah.
I thought it was man, it tells you how much attention I pay. All these shows are blending into me, but I thought it was Graves and Cole on Raw. I don't think it's a 3-man team. Tessitore and Barrett on SmackDown.
Where was Tessitore? Was Tessitore he had been on SmackDown? Okay, I'm not even paying attention to which show is which because they've switched. They've switched multiple times. So Tessitore's out.
Clearly
Graves
the
is here.
split
So maybe Graves is on all the shows now. Maybe he's on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown.
And what about Barrett?
I don't know. We'll find out on. I presume he's on.
We'll
Raw.
find out on Monday. Okay, that's
Is Michael Cole just doing Raw and SmackDown now?
Man, perhaps. Yeah. Okay. For now.
Well, we'll find out. All right. We're off to a great start. CM Punk arrives. He's here. So they promoted him. Then they took him off the website. And then he was back here. I don't think anyone thought he was not appearing on this show. They made it very clear. And then John Cena starts the show coming out. He's got his Cubs colors on. And we get a big thank you Cena chant. And Cena explained having some bad years. And he needed to get his mojo back earlier this year. So he had a bad day. Now he's had a few bad years. And he had to get his mojo back.
Well, okay, the bad years being like the losing streak that he had,
I guess.
Okay.
So
right.
is this more about the? Is this more?
I don't think it's about the heel turn.
It's not. The heel turn I don't think happened anymore. Like when we get the career retrospective of Cena on December 13th, is the heel turn even going to be part of the video package?
When we get it remains to be seen if to me, I think a legitimate question is if Unreal Season 2 will talk about the failure of the heel turn.
Or the success of it.
Nailed it. We made way too much money, and it was time to turn him back into a babyface so that we could make less. Yeah.
This is this great run, but we've got to end it on a babyface note. It's too bad.
But Cena has been very upfront about like what we can interpret as a failure. I mean, on the post show to the last PLE, he basically talked about, sometimes you got to listen to the audience and you got to change course. Here he spoke about having the audience having to bear with pivots over the past several months.
Yes, he says tonight, I've got nothing planned. I just want to have fun. And that fun included being on this show for like an hour. And he said he had to overcome a lot of roadblocks on this farewell. Tonight, I'm just taking it in. And he thanks Chicago for using their voice and using that same voice to bring people back to WWE. And you know what I'm talking about. And they all start chanting AJ Lee. And Cena remarks, what an exciting night they are in for. And Cena mentions that he's got a lot of history. This is his last appearance on SmackDown, where he showed up 23 years ago in the same building to challenge Kurt Angle. This is where he headlined WrestleMania with Triple H, where he hosted U.S. Open challenges, and where he lost to CM Punk, who took his title and put it in his refrigerator. And Cena states that the locker room argues over where the best crowd is. But for him, it's not an argument. And he never actually said that his vote goes to Chicago. So I'm imagining he's still partial to France. That's the company line, isn't it now? So
that's it. Yeah.
And he says he thanks the crowd for
it'll be Washington in a few weeks.
Yeah, of course. Springfield. The most underrated crowd in the WWE universe. Springfield. He says you kept me honest. I experienced failure and you gave me joy when I needed it most. Thank you. And what a loving embrace here of a city with this man.
So you just have a way of like.
What are you talking about?
Making every.
I'm just repeating what he said.
Sarcastic as shit, man.
I'm not
I
sarcastic.
love it. It's great. You know what? So we've kind of really run the gamut of like, Cena promos this year. Like we've had obviously a number of differing types of like heel promos since he's become a babyface. We've had, I would say, very creative, very well done, different babyface types of promos. And here we got like a pretty, I would say, genuine Cena, like just, I don't have anything planned. I'm coming out here and I'm thanking Chicago from the heart, reminding you of my history with this place, and that's it. So I mean,
you don't think he didn't have any of this mapped out? This was all just impromptu.
Of course not. Yeah. No, this was all off the top of his head.
Well, honestly, they have the GM that would back this up in Nick Aldis.
Right. Whatever you think of how this was planned, I mean, I thought it came across really genuine and it came across well. It reminded me of well, I didn't even remember or recognize the fact that his debut was also in the
he was in
Chicago
Chicago
Arena.
Yes.
Wow.
They should have redone this with
They kind of did, didn't they?
Did
somebody come out?
Yeah, we should have had generic jacked developmental wrestler come out here. They could have got I don't know, who would have been your pick. One of the dark. Who would have been right? Oh, Cyrus Griffin.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know any of their names. So
Sami Zayn comes out, and man, is he booed like more than I thought he would be here. He thanks Cena on behalf of the locker room and what you did for me. This crowd just did not wait. This was the most vociferous they've been towards Sami Zayn, who you think would be the one babyface that would be okay in this position. But no, he made his debut a decade ago, challenging Cena for the U.S. title. Now I stand here holding that same title. I want to pay it forward and introduce the Sami Zayn U.S. Open Challenge, but only if you approve. Cena goes, fuck no, you're not stealing my gimmick. No, he says, that sounds great. But then Zayn stops him and says, if this is your last SmackDown, it would be my honor to pay you back and give you a shot at the U.S. title. And John's looking around, what? Me? The U.S. title?
I don't want that thing.
I'm not carrying that around to Springfield. The crowd goes nuts when Zayn proposes it right now and says, if you want some, come get some. And John Cena agrees to have an impromptu match here in Chicago, unplanned, completely unscripted, and they're going to blow up the format to allow for this title match because John Cena came here to have fun.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I thought it was great. On top of that feel good promo, you're offering the bonus of a John Cena match here as well. So I mean, like this entire babyface run, I think they're offering some really great fan service, and I thought it also did a great job of, at the very least, starting off Sami Zayn's U.S. title win with a high caliber announcement.
So the match begins, and all of a sudden, this crowd went from going nuts for John Cena and Sami Zayn to seeing the heavenly bodies against the Rock and Roll Express, because at the first couple of minutes of this match, they're just doing basic wrestling, and this crowd is like, get to the good stuff. And I mean, I wouldn't say this was like bad, but it was just, there was one leapfrog spot where Sami just like crashed into John. But it's just like this crowd, it was like, we just want the John Cena match where they're going nuts. And so Cena then goes for his first AA. And then from there, this crowd, they just got into all of it, because for the next like 20 minutes, it was just big moves, kickouts, and Cena doing all of his tribute spots, which I think this guy can coast on from now until December for all of his remaining matches. So he, some of the moves he hits include a pop-up powerbomb for Kevin Owens. Then he hits an angle slam, which Michael Cole identifies as a back suplex, and Corey Graves there to catch and says, I think maybe he was trying to do a version of the angle slam as a callback to the exact match that he just mentioned 10 minutes ago, Michael.
Thank God Graves was here, and if he wasn't, I'm sure Barrett would have caught it too, but like, man.
Would Pat McAfee have caught it?
I guess that one a bit more debatable, but man, I just
shades of Takashi Sugiura.
I just
obviously
don't know.
They never had a match in Noah, but
I guess I just don't know how he would have missed this. I don't know how he would have missed the one.
Okay,
afterwards,
the
too,
next
dude.
one was the most hilarious. Okay, so he does the GTS, and honestly, I've seen that move screwed up many times. Unfortunately, several by Kenta and Marufuji in their last outing. This could have gone badly, and I thought John Cena hit a perfectly serviceable GTS here.
Cena's got the height for it, unlike honestly Punk, and
Yeah, it's very opponent contingent, but like this one, sometimes it's a flip of a coin how the GTS is going to look, but he got it. And then in what I can only tell you was the most linguistic maneuvering by Michael Cole, John Cena, who is either impersonating the guy that's headlining All Out with his fake brother or was auditioning for Blanca and taking Jason Momoa's role, gets into the corner and is doing the edge signal for the spear. And it's like so obvious. And Cole is like, oh, another homage on our hands. It's like, okay, he's not going to name him. And he hits it. And he's like, Cole mentions all of the past battles that John Cena had with the big dog.
like, what the fuck,
The
dude?
big dog. Yes, the classic Cena Reigns wars. And Graves then mentions, yeah, maybe it was a mention of another rivalry with another Canadian.
No, you can really tell this is like babyface Corey
Oh
Graves
my
now, because
God.
like a heel Corey Graves would have ate this dude alive. All right, like I don't know how. Like okay, that first one, what was
The
it?
angle slam?
The angle slam. I mean, that was already like okay, maybe
That was Cole, honestly. I think just not recognizing it. I
Well-
don't think he was purposely avoiding naming angle.
I tend to give like maybe a bit of leeway for like commentators getting that live perspective. Maybe he wasn't watching the screen. Maybe he was watching what was in front of him. Maybe from his angle, it didn't look exactly like an ankle slam. It wasn't the greatest ankle slam either. Let's be honest. Okay, fine. But when a dude's doing this, that's the fucking that's a tribute to Roman Reigns. I mean, I just don't know how he would have missed it. He called all those matches,
I see that was the one where I felt he was just intentionally sidestepping naming Edge.
What?
How could he not have known that one? Like that one was just so obvious.
You can ask that about like most of Michael Cole's like missed calls, that he's had throughout his entire career. Like
Wow.
match moves that are painfully obvious that he's called a million times that he just doesn't recognize.
Well,
And something like this, just again, like spells to you, for all the praise this guy is getting today, he still leaves a lot to be desired in certain moments in calling the action like this. I don't know how you missed this one.
Well, thankfully they had a hot crowd because as soon as we couldn't get any more follow-up tributes for the big dog, the crowd starts chanting RKO, and I can only imagine just Cena just acted on the fly here and then set up for an RKO, but it's countered, and then he lands the Avalanche AA off the turnbuckle. Both are down, and I think everyone knew what was coming. Brock's music plays, and out he comes. Did you catch Brock Lesnar guy was there ringside?
I did not.
He was
there?
he was in fact there to reunite. And Lesnar rips out the referee, F5 Zayn, 2 F5s to Cena, and leaves him laying. So no finish to this match. It could still be ongoing. And backstage, Lesnar, he has to use the word WrestlePalooza. And he says, I will see you at WrestlePalooza, bitch. So
Yeah.
Kazuchika Lesnar and John Cena set up here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be on, he's advertised for the next 2 weeks of SmackDown, which I don't know how much more you need out of Lesnar before this match. I mean, this one feels kind of like Lesnar is more for this build. I don't need a contract signing with these guys. I don't need promos.
Well, you're not going to get one, right? Like, how much TV is Cena doing ahead of WrestlePalooza?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, he's not on SmackDown again. And Lesnar is advertised for 2 SmackDowns. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
so they probably just
I don't
want
think this guy should be talking, though. Should he?
well, if you're not going to get Cena, I suppose they wanted some presence for the match to promote it, on these shows. Maybe he'll rap Maybe he'll do something else.
Boombox.
Yeah,
Okay.
bring back Boombox Brock. That doesn't seem fitting for the current Brock Lesnar.
This was nearly the first hour of SmackDown that you had Cena on here, so I'm very curious to see how well this first hour does for them, because you had Cena out there for like a lengthy promo, great crowd, and then you got the match with Zayn, which went like pretty lengthy. I mean, they went through 2 commercial breaks, and then you got Lesnar at the end of all of this. This was like 50 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it's the type of atmosphere and type of like guy for this particular night, Cena's last SmackDown, where you could, I think, totally justify giving him the entire first hour. I mean, there's nothing bigger on the show other than what you saw at the very end, right? So, the ratings are very unpredictable to me these days, but I'm very curious.
New all-time low.
But I'm very curious to see how this first hour performs.
What did you think about the match before we got to the angle?
I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I didn't really interpret like the first moment to be like, apathy. I just thought it was a crowd being respectful, or at least like not necessarily reacting the biggest for some of the chain wrestling. But no,
Well, I just thought this was a crowd tonight that, I mean, this was your ultimate, we're here for our moments type of crowd, because, I mean, they were here for AJ Lee and John Cena. That was what this crowd was here for. But listen, the Cena method, I mean, it really works, because once they get into the video game sequences, I mean, this crowd was going wild. And then you're throwing in the tribute spots. Like, that's just, it's a very easy formula that Cena as a babyface can pull off. The interesting part is going to be like structuring this Lesnar match, which has to be more of kind of this violent type of fight and not so much this like your Logan Paul or in this case Sami Zayn type of match.
It'll be a different type of match for sure. Yeah, but I enjoyed this Zayn match. I think all of Cena's matches lately have just been a lot of fun. Again, fan service seems to be the intent, and he's giving the audience exactly, I think, what they want for these sort of goodbye matches. I will say, like, okay, ultimately, Zayn being put in a match against John Cena, I think is good for Zayn. I do wish there was a little bit more they could have given him, or at least like I wish there was an exit they could have given him that was a little bit more clever than just
Zayn might end up being like the fall guy that has got to like get destroyed by Lesnar over the next like week or two. Like Zayn, I'm not saying they do a match, but
they could follow up
like
with this.
Yeah, it's like you can establish that Zayn stands up for Cena, who's not there next week, and Brock just obliterates Zayn. Like he might be the collateral damage here.
Well, I number one, I certainly hope not. But two,
that's kind of his character, that they probably feel like we can get away with doing this to Zayn because he's that sympathetic babyface that we can just destroy.
Zayn took that Avalanche AA and essentially was saved from defeat by the Brock Lesnar entrance. So you're already telling the audience, okay, this guy probably shouldn't be champion, because Cena probably was going to beat him. And then you have Lesnar come in and just F5 him and just kind of cast him aside. And I understand the gulf in sort of star power and importance to the company between a Sami Zayn and a Brock Lesnar. I guess I just wish they had something a bit more clever so that we could still retain some sort of value in this brand new U.S. champion,
Maybe this lights something within Sami Zayn. He comes out of this Brock deal and he turns to a more violent edge, and then we get the reveal that Karrion Kross was right all along.
He's been pulling the strings. Brock Lesnar, latest member of the Final Testament.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Notable, like crowd reaction wise, I mean, the crowd cheered when the Lesnar music came.
Of course.
Once he did the F5s, they resorted to boos, and I mean, these are just at this point expected reactions for him. And
I don't even know what you would expect as like a reaction that would be counter to, like, barring like a chant of like Janelle Grant, like what kind of reaction is going to be a protest chant against Brock Lesnar? And quite frankly, no. I don't think like this is an audience that is all too consumed with that aspect of this. It's like they're in the mindset of they're watching the show and this is one of the big stars on the show. And I think you'll get those complaints, but it's not going to translate. And there really isn't kind of that avenue to even like protest that guy if this audience were like, it would have to take something really seismic
No, they're booing, and the boos, or for whatever reason they're happening, are fitting of the story.
Nick Aldis is reacting backstage and gets stopped by Mello, who's looking for a title opportunity. And Miz comes in saying, we need a tag title opportunity. And basically, Hayes doesn't want to be straddled to the Miz and doesn't want a tag title shot. And that was their role on the show. Becky Lynch pulls up, establishing she is in the arena. And then we go to Aleister Black. And he is not in the dark room, but I did put my typing skills to the test. This is what you people want me to be. See, I came home to WWE hoping things would have changed, only to find out that the well is still poisoned. And that brings me to you, Damian Priest. You're not just standing across from years of hate that this industry has carved into me. I need to purify the well. You are who you are because you follow the rules. And I am who I am because I follow the rules until I don't. I had missed this version of Aleister. Now the comeback is complete.
Yeah, I was trying to picture in my head.
I was going to put this in ChatGPT to translate, but I didn't have time. He has had hate carved into him, and the well is still poisoned here in WWE.
So it sounded more to me like it was Jimmy Snuka doing an Aleister Black promo just now.
Brother,
trying to
that well don't taste too good, brother. It's poison.
but
Poison down your
this
throat.
This is how I choose to listen to Aleister Black promos from now on.
Purify you.
Oh, fuck. Creepy.
It's antiquated.
He's unhinged, everybody. John Pollock.
So Aleister Black and Damian Priest. We're finally going to get them. Black jumps Damian Priest during the entrance. They fight ringside, and Priest is selling like he's concussed, okay? He's wobbling all over the place like he's on skates, and this referee's like, are you okay? yeah, sure. So Black is collapsing all over the place. Bell rings after he's had his bell rung. Look at this guy. He looks like he needs emergency, like CPR. And Priest is falling down. He swings with a punch and drops to the ground. And Black puts a submission on his shoulder, tries for the razor. Priest eventually comes back with strikes, tries for the razor's edge, and it's stopped. And Priest fires up, goes for the old school into a crossbody, and then clears the desk. And Priest's big spot, he delivers the razor's edge to Aleister on top of the desk. Doesn't break. And Black then holds the referee in the ring, preventing South of Heaven, and uses the referee as a distraction to connect with Black Mass, pinning Damian in 9 minutes and 37 seconds.
Yeah. I thought the match overall told like a really easily digestible story. It's like Aleister Black attacking in the ramp and then essentially controlling like 90% of the match. Priest comes back for a little bit and then Black cheats to win. Like, it's perfectly digestible. Good match, I would say, but I don't think the feud has been that hot to begin with, and therefore I didn't find myself all that interested or that engaged in what was going on. I thought Black's like in ring looked really good, but
I thought this was one of his better performances we've seen. Like the two, like especially showing off all the strikes and submissions and stuff. Like it was a good wrestling match for him. But what about like the impact that Ron Killings had in this match? What do you think about that?
He was certainly we await. We await.
What direction was the baseball hat on this week? Was it R-Truth or Ron Killings?
It was not on, period. I don't know if he even showed up to town here, but yeah, he's been absent. They've just completely dropped it, and the audience isn't really yelling for him either. So I don't know. He's getting a paycheck, and that's about it. I'm not that big of a fan of like Aleister Black being the type of like heel that cheats to win. You know what I mean? I feel like he should be a more dominant, just like I'll kick your ass type of heel. Don't you think?
Well, I think it's one where,
like to me, he could be a Gunther level type of heel.
Yeah, I don't quite see him getting there. I've always had a very high ceiling for Aleister Black, but it does not feel like one that we're talking about in terms of like your re-signings this year. That this one I would categorize as a success at this point.
Yeah, not yet,
but salvageable. I would certainly say salvageable. So coming into tonight, we are 1 week away from the Worlds Collide show. And going into tonight's show, we had one match announced for Vegas next week with El Hijo del Vikingo and Dominic Mysterio. And as we air a commercial, they just roll out the entire card here. So joining that match is Pagano and Psycho Clown against New Day for the tag titles. Fabi Apache and Natalya in a number one contenders match for the Reina de Reinas belt. Lola Vice and Mr. Iguana against Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez. El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. defending the Latin American title in a four-way with Dragon Lee, Ethan Page, and JD McDonough. An 8-man lucha showcase with Nino Hamburguesa, La Parca, Octagon Jr., and Mascarita Sagrada against Joaquin Wilde, Cruz del Toro, Lince Dorado, and Abismo Negro Jr., and a special appearance by Penta. And that is next week. So this just feels like this is all WWE versus AAA talent is the lineup for this card. I thought that they might be running too small of a building for Vegas next week with, like, this is the eve of the big Canelo fight. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have not filled this Cox Pavilion yet, and I cannot say that this show feels like it has anywhere near the buzz of Triple Mania, and certainly not of the Worlds Collide back in June, as we are a week out. But we'll see where they are next week. This just feels like they're putting on so many shows, and this is one that just I feel a lot of people are they're going to skip this.
Yeah, I imagine this would fill up, decently well the week of, if not just,
We're talking 3,000 people will fill this building. I'm sure it will be full by Friday, but the idea of booking like an 8,000 seater or something, like, I think that was definitely out of grasp.
I think they would have put a lot more effort if it was going to be an 8,000 seater. But I mean, this gives you a chance to see like what
no AJ Styles on the show, as we had maybe thought. Like, they could get involved, him and El Grande Americano, but at least
I fully expect that, like, at the show itself, especially this being on in the US. But this kind of gives you a sense of like who they wanted to bring back from the Worlds Collide show, who are the sort of mainstays of the AAA sort of WWE era, and who the Undertaker wants to push in this version of AAA.
Maybe Alberto will be on his podcast within 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. Not sure.
Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre had a taped video going back and forth. Drew says that Randy won't pull the trigger when it counts, but I do. And Randy says, "You don't want to know what the voices are saying." No, tell us, Randy. And says that you have no idea what's coming for you. And Drew says, WWE needs a real man like me. And these two, through the power of Twisted Tea, are going to have a match next week in Norfolk, Virginia.
I think the voices are saying, "Hey, have you tried this Fireball whiskey?" Is that just Randy Orton's role?
I wish they had to work in a mention of the product into their intense promos.
Yeah. I mean, this wasn't really much to, I think, judge this feud by, but I mean, several weeks away, I just haven't really been that inspired by it. It just, they don't have that much sort of like, I think, clever, material going for it, other than just I'm willing to pull the trigger and you're not.
I guess the question here is that if this is, are you bringing back Cody in time to do the match with Drew in Indianapolis, or are you going to hold off on that match with Drew?
Indianapolis is what show? Which one? WrestlePalooza?
WrestlePalooza. Like, this will be next Friday, and that's a week out from the pay-per-view.
Hold off. Like, WrestlePalooza is already getting pretty loaded.
I don't think they need it at WrestlePalooza. If they want to hold that one off for, say, the Australia show, they certainly could at this point. I don't think you need to rush to Cody and Drew, but I guess they could do the return as soon as next week. So they also announced next week Brock is on the show, and Tiffany Stratton will face Jade Cargill for the women's title. Stratton is interviewed. She says that, unlike last time when her foot was on the rope, this time my foot will be straight up her eye of the storm. Is ass banned? We can't say that? The eye of the storm.
This is way more descriptive.
Okay. Maybe she's going to put her foot in her eye. Nia walks into Jade's room. Basically, Jade says, after I win the title, you can get yours. So perhaps we're getting some three-way out of this. Aldis meets with Becky. Didn't know she was going to be here tonight. Of course, Aldis didn't know what was happening on his own show tonight. Can't have any more issues tonight. It's like Becky's like, you have nothing for the last 15 minutes of the show. You better hope I get involved and have more to do tonight than just showing up here. So she is informed that CM Punk is here. No shit. It's Chicago. Julia against Michin for the U.S. Championship. Was this our Heavenly Bodies Rock and Roll Express match? This crowd was completely out of this one.
It was.
You have never heard 16,000 people quieter than this one. Mm-hmm. I watched this one through the commercial break. I mean, it was crickets during this break as Julia's using her Rings of Saturn. Michin gets up, sit-out powerbomb. There was nothing these two could do. Kiana James gets onto the apron and her head gets smashed, but that forces Michin to be distracted and turns around and gets hit by Arrivederci. I will try that one. And running knee, and she wins the match. Nothing special about this match at all.
Oh man, crowd is just sitting on their hands for this one. I mean, and I understand like putting this match on this show because it was your only women's match on the show. Really, it was your only other match on the show, wasn't it? What else did we get here?
We had 3 matches.
Priest and Black. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess one of those needed to go to the women, but man, like they have zero recognition in comparison to almost all the main stuff on this particular card, you know. And Julia is somebody that I think you've done practically nothing to really sell and promote and build as a big star in the weeks leading up to this. Michin is just pretty bottom rung as far as like, you know, like beatable opponents on the women's roster. So the star power was just like very, very, very low for the show for this match. Bad placement on the card, bad setup for the match. So I don't really blame the talent. I blame more so everything that they did to craft around this.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a really good job with a lot of other like international talent, and I don't know. I look at Julia as like one of the easiest when it comes to just such a natural charisma, and I'm so surprised that she's in this level at this point where she just feels like they've really just missed it on Julia at the moment. So I don't think this Kiana James thing is clicking at this point. I mean, they get no real significant promo time or any kind of development of like how these two are in each other's orbit. I think it's just left a lot to be desired with this act between them. And to me, it's only made the U.S. title feel like an afterthought. Charlotte Flair's in the trainer's room where her ankle is taped up, and Alexa comes in with Dr. Lily to check on her, and Bliss says that they'll get revenge when Charlotte is better. You need to rest and let the power of friendship heal your pain. And Flair is not cleared yet.
Yeah. And what, Charlotte really wanted Alexa to say something at the end here? Did you catch that?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, it was like it's a bit of a weird segment, you know. Like I know audiences, the story is, you know, the audiences are really liking Charlotte, but man, these segments have not really gotten any better. I think these have all been pretty awful lately.
Yeah, I mean this. I don't know. This was not great.
Oh.
Seth Rollins comes out through the crowd. They go to break. He's still there when they come back. And he says that tonight the legend, CM Punk, dies tonight. So he's promising a funeral. Leads to a big Punk chant. And then he introduces his wife, the greatest female wrestler on planet Earth. So Becky comes out and...
I love that Rollins' only role is to essentially come out and basically hide to let his wife fight his battles for him.
I thought Seth and Becky were tremendous in
Yeah.
this whole last 15 minutes. The whole place is chanting for AJ Lee, and Becky just, how dare you chant for somebody else's name? And I mean, I honestly, like, this is where I understand at times, like, you want to do the big, you don't see it coming surprise, but I think there's really something to be said for making people know what's coming, but you don't know when it's coming. And you get that anticipation factor. And this, to me, this whole AJ thing this week, I think was like, did they spoil it by having Big E talk about AJ Lee or CM Punk holding that sign? Or did it result in moving a ton of tickets this week for the Chicago show? You get your massive pop at the end, And it was just like they were just leading you with breadcrumbs all week long, that you knew what you were getting if you tuned into the show. And if you did, you left really happy by the end of this. And I think
it's what they did with the first dance.
It is. It's exactly the same as the first dance. And I think there's something to that when you just hear like this obsession with, there were only 5 people in the world that knew about this. Our truth. Triple H was the only one who knew I was going to cut my hair. Yeah, what a guarded secret that we just were so stunned.
Are you saying
by.
they could have built up to that's teasing us that R-Truth is about to cut his hair?
I mean, he could have lost a match. He could have done an angle for that. Couldn't he? Like, what was the point of cutting his hair after all this time?
To signify a new character.
I'm going to put a hat. Now I can wear a hat. You don't know which way the hat goes. But let's get back to this. So she's out. She's running down Chicago, says that all of their team sucks. CM Punk sucks. And then Punk comes out. And, man,
as far as like a heel promo goes, this was about as easy of a night for Becky Lynch as possible, because this crowd was going to boo her no matter what she said. So the default, your team sucks, your team sucks, your team sucks, was about as effective as anything, I'm sure.
As her and Seth are in the Chicago Bears orange as well. I like that added touch too. So Punk enters. Man, you've never seen this.
Man, isn't that their team? Like,
it is. She actually, I don't think she even.
the
I think the
Bears.
one team she omitted was the Bears when she listed off all the Chicago teams that suck. I don't think she mentioned the Bears. Punk did like a Sandman length entrance walking out. I mean, he just went forever coming down here. He gets into the ring and he says to Becky, "This is not about you. It's about your coward of a husband who is still way off in the crowd, just standing like 200 feet away."
Yeah.
And you see him like waving from so far away. Becky asks CM Punk if he's embarrassed. "How does your face feel? How is your pride feeling?" And the AJ Lee chants begin. Becky tells them to shut up. Punk says, "No, you will not tell them to stop chanting the name AJ Lee. And if it bothers you, you shouldn't have put your nose in my business. This is my city. I've got friends and shooters." Shooters. Unlike these fake pro wrestlers in the back, I've got shooters here, okay?
Oh, I thought he meant a different type of shooter. I feel like he's been listening to his Kendrick Lamar tapes, a little too much.
Yeah, he could pull out that Tommy gun he used for that John Cena entrance at WrestleMania.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He says he could call Bailey. He could call in a favor to Rhea Ripley. And then Becky starts slapping him again, is paintbrushing him, and asks, "Who's going to come to save you?" She calls Punk pathetic as he goes to the floor, and he is called an embarrassment to the city of Chicago. Punk says, "I wanted to avoid this. I would never put my hands on a lady. Thankfully, I know someone who will." And then we hear, "Let's light it up," as out comes AJ Lee, who has aged maybe 6 months since we last saw her in WWE. She's got like abs. She just comes out here, does her whole entrance, and Becky is just like frightened as she is just stuck in the ring. And then finally AJ attacks her, and Rollins runs, but he won't jump over the barricade. He avoids Punk. And then Becky and Seth were great here, and they leave just in fear of these two as AJ jumps onto Punk, and that's how the show ends.
Yeah. The segment overall is like super simple, super predictable.
Sometimes
and
that's the best way to go
super
about it.
successful.
Exactly.
They did a great job building anticipation. They and they gave this crowd basically exactly what they all bought a ticket here to see by the end. They did a great job teasing it, and somehow they managed to turn. I mean, AJ Lee coming back to the WWE is a big deal, certainly, but I wouldn't expect it to be feeling this big, but they did a great job of just making it into such a big thing that people were talking about all week, and this entire arena was chanting for. And it just really gave, I think, a great moment to close the show with. This whole show overall was like, I mean, it was dominated essentially by two storylines, and they managed to fill up like 75% of the show with those two storylines, and I don't think this crowd was complaining about that much at all. I don't think this crowd was complaining that they only got 3 matches on the show. If anything, like one of those matches they didn't care for at all. So, this was definitely a star power driven show. It felt very big, and I thought it was an overall quite entertaining show.
Yeah, so they Paul Levesque did of course he got his requisite photo with AJ and with Punk. He also posted a video of her signing a contract, and I guess they showed this was after the broadcast where AJ was left in the ring and held up Becky's Intercontinental title that she had left there in the ring. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it looks like she's back, and I would say the most logical finish is like her pinning Becky in this tag match, and that's where you could go after this. I think that is the finish that would be the most, and it keeps Punk and Rollins to do their blow off match at whatever it is, whenever they want to time that one out.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
So, the show was really built on, like, you had Cena for 45 minutes and you got AJ and the build up to it for the final 15 minutes. That was pretty much the show. It felt like one of those shows where Black and Priest, it was fine. And the women's match, I just, like, this audience, they just wanted to get to the main event. Like, it's more and more, it's so apparent that, like, you better be super over if you're going to put these people out there for any period of time, because it feels like the larger the audience, the more it is like they are like wrestling is the last thing that they're here to just watch cold.
It's not. No, I don't know if it's so much that it's like they don't want to see wrestling matches with people they don't care about. Like they're here for superstars. And I think if anything, a show like this points to how lacking this mid card is. That for most of the weeks you're watching SmackDown, you're watching this, right? Most of the time you're watching SmackDown, you're not watching a show like this. You're not getting a John Cena, you're not getting a CM Punk, you're not even getting a Becky Lynch on these sort of shows. And that's a problem. Like, because you can't just rely on star power for every single week, right?
They've got enough of them, and I mean SmackDown is like they're gonna have Brock now, and Cody will be back. Most of the time I'm
watching like Solo Sikoa, like no MFTs on the show. Like they're supposed to be basically the guys running SmackDown. Like I'm usually watching a Tala Tonga run-in. I'm watching like the Street Profits and like the DIY argue in the back like they're school children. This was not a regular edition of SmackDown, and that's why I think I enjoyed it so much more than a regular edition of SmackDown.
Well, there you have it, and I guess WrestlePalooza, we're getting the card pretty much all put together now. They haven't officially announced the intergender match, but I guess that's a formality at this point. But how would you say, after this show, I think it goes without saying, but like where you feel like WrestlePalooza feels like a pretty big show at this point, with what's announced already. Like you've got Cena Lesnar, this tag match that's coming.
I get the same feeling that I got for the Netflix debut, which
very
is to
similar.
Say that the show is going to be really big, and I think you can argue it's as important for them as the Netflix debut.
I'm most interested to see like beginning that like Tuesday or Wednesday, like the push from ESPN, because I think that's going to be the big difference maker for this show, and getting all of these big talent, like if they can get a John Cena in there, or just, everyone, like that to me is going to be the interesting week to watch. And even like how much, like if all of the sports media focus is on this show, like what does that do to AEW for its week to kind of sell its pay-per-view? Like it's going to be WWE, I think, dominating a lot of the media coverage, and that's going to be positioned as the show that's happening on Saturday. So a lot of interesting elements to all of this. And hey, we want to hear what your thoughts are. So we're going to be saying goodbye on the YouTube channel. Again, you can hit the subscribe button, and of course you can join us for more postwrestlingcafe.com, where you can spend all of your Friday night with Wai and I. We've got questions, we've got feedback to get to. So we are saying goodbye on YouTube, and now we are moving to the forum.